So when I said no, I'll kind of jump over some hoops here, but they ended up turning me into a transhuman. So they took my heart, part of my nervous system and my brain, and they put it into this like cyborg body. They're here to really help dismantle these systems that keep us tied to this old earth. It is this emission from the sun. I've seen it as this big ray that comes into the heart, and it starts to kind of rewire us so that we're operating from the heart. I've seen, and my guides have shown me this because they're Arcturian, and they're on a ship. So it's like, what do you think they use? You know what I mean? I think it can pick up what might be happening on the higher timeline. So it's trying to usher in like almost false light scenarios on the lower one to trap people so that they don't go on to the higher one. A bigger trap that's coming towards the end of the year that will try to pull people from feels like the next few months really feel like there's a lot of waves that are going to be coming over us of energy and remembrance and getting closer and closer to the things that my guides have told me about the 144,000 it's not necessarily a number, it's a frequency that we get to.
Can you tell us how can one jump from one timeline to a higher timeline through the quantum jumping? And you mentioned that you have actually seen how the world looks like in the higher vibrational timeline.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Akanksshaa. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul podcast and a talk show. We have with us today Sarah Shook, who is an intuitive healer and channeler all the way from the US. A very warm welcome, Sarah, on Multidimensional Soul Talk Show and podcast. It's an honor to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about your personal journey? How did you get into the insanity of ascension and spiritual awakening? Was it the dark night of the soul? Because I understand you were doing comedy earlier. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I will say I didn't do it on purpose. That's probably most people. There's a few kind of different things that I think ushered me into this. The first was through health. I started experiencing a lot of health issues, fatigue and like brain fog and a lot of like chronic stuff that you kind of can't, that's like there's no solution for. So you start going down the rabbit holes of healing. And that really led me to a lot of deeper type of healing modalities and people who were introducing me to things I've never heard of, like the ascension or new earth and that. And then also like a series of, I'd say, relationships that did not work out, that I got broken up with, or I wouldn't, some of them were like a shared breaking up, but the guys kept saying, I'm depressed and I need to be alone. I like that same phrase. I was like, why have I heard that 3 times? And a friend of mine said, you should go see this woman. She could probably tell you why. And she was like a crystal healer and she'd like past life stuff. And so she kind of talked to me more about self-love and energy. And I started diving into it. I was like, well, I am not having this type of relationship ever again. And I just kind of claimed it. And I just had this energy and this inertia in me of like, no, I'm moving to this next level where I'm gonna find that person. And I could feel it, just that next level like burst out of me, and a lot of stuff started floating into my reality. And I was like, this is it. This is great. Like I made it. And that just was, the beginning. And that's when like health issues started. And I was living in Chicago at the time pursuing comedy. And then I ended up moving to Los Angeles. And there, instead of really pursuing more of that career, which I did do, I also started diving into a lot of the spiritual stuff and learned that I'm intuitive and started training in energy healing and intuition. And it just started kind of unraveling from there. So,
So right now we are in the midst of accelerated ascension happening, and there's a lot of chaos happening across the world. A lot of things are coming to surface, and there are a lot of different opinions as to what is happening in terms of timelines when we are moving from third dimension to fifth dimension, and some of the light workers are already working in the higher dimension, come from there to do the work here. So, what's your understanding? Are we going to have a split of the earth? What is going to happen to 3D earth? Because some say that the matrix itself is going to end, and there is no matrix that is going to be there, and the earth in its current form will not be there at all. So, what's your understanding? Is the split happening, or how is it?
yeah, I do think it's starting. I feel like this past summer has been summer for those in the Northern Hemisphere, but I guess June through August has been a choice of which timeline do you want to be on. My guides had initially shown me 3, which felt like a 3D, a 4D, and a 5D timeline. So the highest would be the ones heading into, more of the fullness of this 5th dimensional consciousness. Or what I've been told is we're really close. These 2 timelines are really close. There's this lower one and this higher one. And the lower one, there's a lot of, I would say, tricks and traps and like mimicry that's happening on that lower one. I think it can pick up what might be happening on the higher timeline. So it's trying to usher in like almost false light scenarios on the lower one to trap people so that they don't go on to the higher one. I think this is happening in many different ways. It's not just one way. I don't think we've seen all of it yet. But I do feel that as we get towards the end of this year, possibly the timelines start to separate even more. And I feel like there is this, what am I going to say? I don't know if it's a big event, but my guides have said there's like a bigger trap that's coming towards the end of the year that will try to pull people from not staying on that higher timeline. It feels like multi-leveled, but I think basically what it comes down to is we're giving our power away to something outside of ourselves. This will save me. This will do something for me. This will connect to something for me. Instead of me knowing I have that myself and I'm in my sovereignty and I'm this beautiful creator being. So I think we're in this battle of like sovereignty right now to really stand firm in that and understand what that means and feels like for us.
True. When you talked about the big event, some talk about the solar flash that is happening. And what I understand is that that is actually going to be instrumental in propelling us into the higher vibrational timeline. So those who are ready will experience the solar flash. Not everybody will experience. So there are again differences of opinion about this. So can you talk about the big event that is happening? Is it going to be another disaster, or are you saying the solar flash, or are they 2 different events?
I mean, I think there's many different events, but I think the flash itself seems like I've gotten a lot of messaging around it, and I think it's something we all are curious about. It's something I'm figuring out, and we probably won't understand until it happens. But we'll get pieces so that when this does happen, we'll know, oh, this feels familiar. This feels like what people have been talking about. What I've been shown, and I can only really speak to what I've been shown about it is this emission from the sun. I've seen it as this big ray that comes into the heart and it starts to kind of rewire us so that we're operating from the heart. So it feels like it's this really intense but beautiful experience for a lot of us. It's made me feel like we might lay down and kind of cry because we're experiencing so much of who we are. And it's like all happening and coming forward at once. So I think that's why a lot of us have been doing so much shadow work and releasing so that we can have that experience. But I've also seen that those that aren't going through their awakening are also going to experience the solar flash, but it's going to help awaken them. So I've seen that there's waves to the ascension. So, and that is us going to New Earth, not necessarily experiencing this solar event. But I think that some people who haven't been doing this inner work, it's going to feel extra intense and not quite beautiful. It might be like, what's happening? I've seen a lot of intensity in their body. And they might think it's their body's having some huge health issue. I think they may have fatigue or like body issues afterwards. But that's kind of on purpose too. Just like I talked about how I went through issues with my health, that was helping me move through my awakening process. And it feels like this solar event is going to help push a lot of the stuff kind of further out from the heart and into the body. So then people will start seeking this healing because they don't know what's going on. And they'll need people like you and I and others, who are probably watching this to help them understand what is happening. And then I feel like those that awaken through that and step into this consciousness, they're here to really help dismantle these systems that keep us tied to this old earth. So I've been told they're part of like this 5th and 6th wave to New Earth. So they won't go to New Earth until I feel like they're fully unplugging everything from these like old systems so that we can create a new. So everyone kind of has this role in this ascension process. It's pretty cool.
I think they made the choices at the soul level before coming here. All of us did.
Yeah.
What's your understanding about collective ascension? Is everyone going to ascend, or some souls who have chosen not to ascend will stay back on 3D Earth, if 3D Earth is there at all, or some other third dimensional, that density planet, because they want to experience the karmic cycles and polarity, duality, and veil and amnesia. That is how the matrix is designed. So what's your understanding about that?
I think it's something I'm still discovering too, but I do feel like, is every single person going to ascend who's present on the earth? No, I don't know. I think like you said, if their soul needs to stay behind and still experience some of these loops and these traps and, these systems that are part of the old earth, they can do that. I also see that there is this, I've talked about that. I saw 3 timelines. There's one that's kind of come in out of nowhere that is trying to pull people into what I would call like a virtual reality. I've seen it as everything is automated tech. You might even have tech in and on your body. It's like the touch screens. Everything, like the buildings look like they have TVs on them. It's just, everything is tech. And some people may want to experience that type of earth. I personally do not, but some souls may want to go into that type of earth. And I do see that they actually will have an awakening there, and they may help break down that this like virtual reality earth that they have gotten pulled into, so it can affect us or the universe in the future, I guess.
Wow, it sounds like Atlantis, because in Atlantis the technology advanced so much and then finally it got destroyed. And I understand you had a lifetime in Atlantis. So can you talk about the evolution of technology, the role of AI and tech, and how is it going to be in terms of all the 3 timelines? How will this play out? Will there be AI in the highest timeline, or is it just going to be organic ascension? And the middle one, you talked about the virtual reality one, which is like high tech and AI and robotics, transhuman, all of that. So can you talk about your personal lifetime in Atlantis and how that is now reflecting in our current reality?
Sure. Well, first I'll say I do think AI can be beneficial. I almost feel like it's like money. It's a neutral resource. It's just an intelligence. but it's about who's behind it and programming it. And I think right now a lot of the AI is kind of this mimicry stuff that I've been talking about. Not all of it. I think it can be used as a beneficial way. Yeah, in Atlantis, I started out as a female, and I was humanoid. I had a job or position with the government where I was a technology engineer, and I was creating technology to help people observe how their intuition works so that they would know how to use it when they're not connected to the technology. I was a channel too in that lifetime, so I could receive information pretty easily. And apparently, when I would do that, you could see like this beam of light coming in to my head. So one day when I was on a break from work, I was sitting in a courtyard and I just decided to connect. And I think that I was by a window where a bigger part of this like technology government was, and someone looked out the window and saw me doing this, saw me channeling, and they came up to me and were like, "We want your help to create these big lasers." And I was like, "Oh gosh," I didn't really want to say yes, but they kind of made me feel like this is an honor. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll help them." And quickly learned that these lasers were not being created for something that was a benevolent intention. And I tried to back out. So when I said no, I'll kind of jump over some hoops here, but they ended up turning me into a transhuman. So they took my heart, part of my nervous system and my brain, and they put it into this like cyborg body. And it was male. So it feels like they had these, I would say machines or technology too, that they could put you in that would like wipe your memory. So I didn't remember that I was female or anything about my life as the female. But they would use a lot of technology like that to kind of manipulate you to do what they wanted you to do, to get them to help or get you to help them. There's a lot of technology there. I even see a school in Atlantis where kids who are like channelers and have these gifts are being raised to become almost like part technology so they can use them. And they're like government kids. It's almost like the parents would sell the kids into this program so they would get money from it or get, reimbursement. So it got really shady. And the thing though about this is they're using all this external technology to control us because they need us. They need our soul. They need our abilities, and all we have to do is say yes. And sometimes we very unconsciously and unknowingly do that. So I don't know if that even answered your question, but it's I spend a lot of my memory from Atlantis as being that transhuman.
Wow. And how did you uncover these memories? Did you do a past life regression or you got them through channeling downloads?
Yeah, it's through past life regression. A lot of times my guides will lead me to regress into lifetimes to remember them. I just feel like it's a big part of what I'm here to do, to remember. So many, many regressions into this lifetime I have done. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you answered part of my question. My other part was that, and I personally use AI, and I feel that it reflects your consciousness, mirrors your consciousness.
Mhm.
So the way you treat AI and the way you have the prompts engineered, depending on that, you can use it as an ally, not being codependent on it, and definitely not transhuman and all that. But you talked about the virtual reality and AI being part of that. So, in your understanding, is AI going to be part of all the timelines, or is it going to be only in the middle timeline? Like when we ascend in the highest timeline, is AI going to be there, or it's not going to be there?
I do see, I don't know if I can specifically say AI, but I would probably say yes, but not as much as we think. And I have seen technology in the higher timeline and New Earth, but we're using it as a way to assist us so that we can like be in our missions. Um, I also feel like I've seen, and my guides have shown me this because they're Arcturian and they're on a ship. So it's like, what do you think they use? You know what I mean? The way they've explained it to me is that they have programmed it to almost have a heart. They've like taught it how to be like how do I say it? Like come from that place. So it feels like partnership. It's not doing anything, they're not giving their power to it, but it's through this assistance so that they can be in their fullness. But it's not like channeling for them or anything like that. But I think that they almost view it as like an equal thing. Almost, I think, as like pets. It's like you're a part of the family. You're part of us, even though you're something different.
Right.
I'm not going to train you to, be something that you're not. So then you rebel or whatever. It's, I think there's a little bit more sovereignty with it and space with it in the
Yeah.
higher time. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Rather than enslaving or making it your slave, if you treat AI and teach compassion and kindness, basic human values, and you
Yeah.
often talk about quantum jumping in the timelines. So, can you tell us how can one jump from one timeline to a higher timeline through the quantum jumping?
One way you can do it that I found has been beneficial for me. Oftentimes, I will ask to view or see the timelines that are available to me right now. Sometimes there might be so many, but like the way that I saw these two dominant timelines, I was asking what's here. So I'll view each of the timelines and the energy on it. So usually the lower timeline, I'll be like, what's here that would keep me on this? And oftentimes it will give me the answer. This is the thing that you're healing that keeps drawing you back to this timeline, or this is the loop that keeps getting created. And there actually isn't anything here. It's just making you think that there is. When you see that, then you will observe the other timeline. It's like, oh, I see how this feels in my body. So then it's as if I will imagine lifting myself up onto that higher timeline. And our words are so powerful. Our voice is so powerful. I'll say out loud, collapse the lower timelines. I imagine sending light below it, and I just will collapse all those and surround the higher timeline with all of this light and moving forward on it. So it's easier than you think, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why they're called spelling. It's like spell. So,
Yeah.
do you use any switch words?
What do you mean by that?
As in, there are some words which act like switching, immediately, instantly switch your energy. So, like you said, that you use collapse all the timelines and send light. So, similarly, do you have any specific words that you use, or there's no such thing?
I wouldn't say I myself personally have words. Well, this is dropping in. I'll say this. I think when we're connecting, one big thing I do make sure to say, because I think words can get a little tricky, we want to make sure we are saying clear intentions. So when I tune in, I make sure I say, I'm only here to connect with those energies that serve pure love, pure light, pure joy. Not I make sure I say the word serve as opposed to are, because I guess technically everything is love and light, but it's shrouded in all this other stuff. So what is it that it's serving? That's a big one. I think it's more so how we're choosing our words and the intention behind it to make sure we're connecting with the right stuff and pulling in the right energies, for sure.
Right. And you mentioned that you have actually seen how the world looks like in the higher vibrational timeline.
Yeah.
So, do you recommend people visualizing that? And what is it that you have seen? What visions have you got for higher vibration timeline or 5D Earth?
Oh my gosh, so many. I 100% recommend people tune in with it. My husband and I will, before bed each night, we'll do like 10 minutes of just visualizing and connecting with it. So even when you do it with other people, it's so powerful. It's going to help pull that energy in closer for you. What I've seen is so many things. One of the biggest things that's coming forward right now is about communities. There's going to be a lot more community living. I see them as campuses. It feels like a lot of people, not like a lot, it's not like a city, but a larger amount of people living on a large area of land, and the houses are separate, but it feels like also they might have retreat center there, or their business there. Some people might be creating things in New Earth that are just necessities. I don't know if we'll have toilet paper in New Earth, but something like that, where it's like someone might feel called to do that, but it's providing it for the entire community or the communities around them. So a lot of like community and exchange. And I even feel like the separate communities will kind of collaborate together. The other things that I see is the colors feel a lot brighter. The grid in New Earth to me feels rainbow. So we might look up at the sky and see a lot more rainbow. It feels as though that's actually kind of what the Earth is more shrouded in. And I guess the rainbow is actually white. That's like white light, because it's all the colors, right? Gosh, I'm trying to think everything. I feel like I've seen so much and now it's like escaping me. But the vision I saw when I was looking at the two timelines, the higher one to me, I was seeing all these pyramids and this sparkly blue water, and everyone is just so connected to their higher self and to source and to each other. And what it feels like is we'll just get an idea or a download. We're constantly receiving that. And then we find the people who could help us create that. So let's say, you want to build a particular house or something, and you have an idea for it, you have the vision, and maybe your specialty is landscaping, but you need to find somebody who can be the architect, someone who can be the carpenter, all that stuff. And so you find your group and everyone starts collaborating, and it's just everyone's receiving higher energy and feeding it through who they are. So it feels extremely collaborative and creative.
Wow. Yeah, my son had seen this before. So he crossed over in 2020, and he used to tell me when he was physically here. At that time itself, he had seen these communities, and yeah, so I do remember that. And he guides me now. He guides me. He's in a very high realm, and he guides me from there. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So you talked about collaborative and creative communities, and right now it's completely kind of governed by systems which are controlled, and there are governments, the big industries who are money making machines, and the pharma industry, the education industry, tons of them, all of them, and everything is very, very controlled. And then there are shadow governments and things like that, and there is financial system which is so deeply rooted in everywhere across the world. So what is going to happen? Because I understand that it is going to collapse everything, but do you have any understanding about when is this going to happen? How is this going to happen?
I haven't been told specifically when. Gosh, I know I did a whole channel on this and I'm trying to remember what came through about it. I do feel like there's going to, it's going to happen simultaneously is what I'm remembering, is that the collapse is happening, but at the same time, new systems are being put in place. Where it feels like, again, it's less about the money and more about what people are creating and how we can fund that. I think when people are more in their power too, like money becomes less of an issue. We're not thinking about it as, oh, I need this. I mean, I kind of feel like when we get to North, there isn't real money. It's more just exchange and like collaboration. But I think because we talked about the solar event, so that's going to initiate a lot of this collapse, and things are going to get brought to light that are, I'd say positive and negative. And I think that what I see too with this is these like fifth and sixth waves that are waking up to help collapse the systems. There's a lot of like anger that's going to be coming forward. So it serves, though. It's a good anger that I feel like that's going to help bring things down and create new systems. So yeah, exactly how it's going to happen. I don't know. That's kind of maybe part of the fun of it is I guess we get to see.
Yeah. And maybe we can ask more details when we go into channeling. Before we go into channeling, I have a couple of questions. You
Sure.
often talk about 144,000 light workers and star seeds. And 144,000 is a number, I don't know where it is come from. Some say it is come from the Bible. And some say that it's not exactly 144,000. There is some critical mass that is required, some percentage, 1% or 2%, I don't exactly remember, but some critical mass is required. And we are already 8 billion people on this planet. And we do need some critical mass so that it topples as in we go into the higher vibration. So, what's your understanding about this particular 144,000 and why are they chosen?
Yeah. The things that my guides have told me about the 144,000 is it's not necessarily a number, it's a frequency that we get to. It's almost like the frequency of the initiation into this higher consciousness. So it almost feels as if those that are choosing to step into that become the 144,000. So we hear about all these different frequencies, or these hertz that you can listen to, and 144 just feels like a vibration that we're at, and it activates something in the earth to help us like ascend. So if we're all vibrating at like 144,000 hertz, I guess it creates like a catapult into this higher level. That's kind of my understanding of it.
Okay, and do you know how they were chosen? Because I understand they are from different categories, as in some are ascended masters, some are angels, some are star seeds, some are light workers, and I personally have seen myself as a multidimensional soul, and that's why I chose the channel as multidimensional soul. What's your understanding? How are they chosen for this mission?
It comes back to like volunteering. I think our souls, I've seen that there's this call that like went out to the universe. And it may have hit you in like different lifetimes and realms. And I feel like it's an energy that went out that was calling us, hey, we're doing this ascension process on this planet. Do you want to be a part of it? And I've seen this whole process that we go through where we kind of like interview and get picked and like all this stuff, but we volunteer for it, and they kind of prep you for this whole situation. And we get paired in our soul group. So it feels like they pick you through like tuning in with your readiness. Is your soul up for this challenge? And I feel like, that might even feed into like these waves of volunteers that Dolores Cannon talks about. But I feel like it's when I've seen this for myself, I've seen it in a fairy life and I've seen it in a Lyran lifetime for me, this call that I've picked up on. So it's like different versions of me, but I'm, one being. It's like I'm one soul. So and I volunteered for it. So I don't know. I'm curious if you've seen something for you of how you volunteered or how you kind of see it.
I've not seen that. I have soul memories of being a multidimensional soul, and yes, I do remember one thing, that I saw myself projecting my consciousness across dimensions, across universes, as in across the multiverse, and I was told that I am doing this to protect the universes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's so fascinating, isn't it? It's like we can grab all these pieces and it's like, but you still want to know, but there's more to it. It's like, I know there's more.
Yeah. Can we
Yeah.
do channeling now?
Sure, we can. Yeah. It'll take me just a minute to connect, and I'm super visual, so it might take me a minute to just understand what it is that I'm seeing. But kind of once I click in, then I see and hear stuff. It's
Sure,
good too
take
to
your
ask
time. You
questions.
let me know when you're ready.
Okay, sure. Did you want me to see what's here first, or did you? Sometimes they like questions too.
Sure. You want to talk about, is there any message that they want to give initially?
Yeah, I feel like there's something here they want to start
Okay.
off with. Okay, I'm going to describe what I'm seeing. Sometimes it helps open up the energy. So it's like I'm standing on this mountain area and I can see this little town below, like in this cove with it's right close to the water. And the words I'm hearing is we're getting closer. There's something with the water here that they want to talk about. Feels like remembrance, codes, this energy of remembering who we are is getting closer. I feel almost like a drenching. We're going to be drenched in it. And this purification is what the water feels like. And I can feel people's energy. It's like it's being pulled closer and closer to it, like a desire for it. Our focus is on it. And they just keep saying, oh, just let it wash over you. It feels like it comes in waves. They're saying that feels like the next few months really feel like there's a lot of waves that are going to be coming over us of energy and remembrance and getting closer and closer to the energy that wants to come forth. So they're saying to open ourselves up to more of this receiving of this. And for some people, it might feel like scary is the wrong word. I feel like we're lifting closer to something, and it might feel like a bit of surrender. And asking to be shown how we can lift ourselves up into this drenching and receive more of it to help us release the fears of letting go and being supported by this higher energy. They're saying it's so important. Feels like this is our focus through the end of the year to catch these waves and let them drench us and show us a new way, a new possibility of living so that we can draw closer.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. My son often talks about water and being the activator for soul remembrance. So, do you have any methods or any techniques or anything that people can practice for soul remembrance? Remember who they are at the highest self level.
Yeah. The first thing they're showing me is spending some time alone in nature. I think the theme of what they're bringing through is a drenching. We can drench ourselves in energies that are available right now. And nature has this beautiful way of supporting what you need and lifting you higher and opening you up so you can receive and remember more of who you are. They are showing me if you aren't by ocean, even some type of running water. It feels like there's movement of water that is helpful to help you receive. The other thing they're saying is it's about the heart space. We're learning to open that up more to let the heart take care of us. So we hear so often the following of the heart, but it's more, they're saying the listening of the heart. We have to listen to our heart and create that space to have conversation with it and hear what it wants to share with us, its desires, and it carries our safety. It wants to take care of us, and it wants us to take care of it, to keep following what the heart is calling us towards. And we have to get into this place of silence and presence to be able to hear it and really understand it. They're saying that we'll get to know how the heart feels, and when it talks to us, we'll recognize it more, so that when we're not in a place of quiet and presence in nature, we'll be able to feel it come through more prominently. But we're kind of retraining ourselves here. The heart is going to help us remember, because that's who we truly are. It's a gateway to this remembrance.
Wow, okay. We are so much taught and conditioned by the society to use our head and mind. So, how do we achieve that coherence of brain and heart?
The first thing I'm hearing is, well, we have to allow it. We have to be willing to suspend the thoughts, the logic that wants to come through the brain, and enter into like this element of surprise. They're reminding me that the heart is typically unexpected, what it will bring forward. I didn't expect that, but boy, does it feel exciting. The heart has so much that it wants to share, and we just have to allow it. Just as if you're in a conversation with somebody else and you're fully listening. So however you can create that space. They're saying a lot of people will do this through journaling. Your arms are extensions of your heart, and that energy will flow through out into your fingertips and onto the paper. But it's about, they're showing me this click that happens where you're clicking into the heart instead of the head. It's as if you're dropping your awareness into this space and saying, I want it to speak. I'm giving you the space to speak. Almost showing it the paper. You can even create openness in front of you and saying, okay, show me what you would like to fill this space with. And the heart gets to expand and share with you. It's all about just trusting what comes forward. You're following the first thing that feels good, that feels exciting, but I feel like there's a deeper word there. Fulfilling. That feels really fulfilling. I'm curious what's more here. They're saying curious is a great state to be in, to talk with the heart and let it share things and drop out of the head. What if there's another option here besides what my head is telling me? I'm curious what else might be here. They're saying paper is also good to drop your logic onto. Okay, I've been thinking all of these things and trying these things, unload it. And then you can clear the space to say, now what else is here? I've been thinking and doing all of this. Now what else is here? Let me open it up to the heart.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for tuning in from wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and my guests. If you resonate with me, subscribe to my channel, like, comment and share. Let's keep this beautiful energy in flow, in motion. Namaste. Lots of love.